The Nintendo Switch is a great console, but which version do you buy? What about the games? What about accessories? Well, this is my 2025 Switch buying guide. Let's get started. So first we're going to talk about the consoles. So you have three different variants. You have the Lite, what I'm going to call the base model, and the OLED. The Lite is handheld only. It cannot be docked, it cannot be displayed on a TV, but it does have a D-pad, and it is the least expensive console. This is $200 brand new, and you can get it as low as $100 used. Moving to what I call the base model, this is going to be your medium entry. It can be docked, it can be played handheld of course as well. Has Joy-Cons, but just know there are two models of this version. There is the first model, and then there's the second model which has a parentheses 01 at the end of the model number. And that second model number comes with a better CPU that's more efficient, that gives you better battery life. This model costs $300 brand new or around $150 used. Then you've got the top of the line OLED model. This is going to give you everything the base model gives you, plus a bigger screen and a more beautiful screen. It has an OLED screen. What that's going to give you is just way better colors and more vibrancy. Also, the OLED screen is more efficient, so you'll get more battery life on this as well. This is going to be your most expensive entry. It is $350 brand new or around $225 used. Moving on to the dock, you have the base model and the OLED dock. Both have very similar functionality, a little bit difference in design. These are both special editions, so the normal ones will just be white or black. The only difference in terms of functionality is the OLED dock does come with an Ethernet port, so if you're into online gaming, that may be important to you. Both switches, the base model and the OLED, work in both docks. Moving on to accessories, let's talk about controllers. So your normal controller is going to be a Joy-Con. These are your separate pieces that slide into the dock. I just have some special editions that I've built here myself with some shell swaps. You also have, if you want a D-pad, Hori does sell a universal one that can plug in. This is not wireless, it has to be plugged into the system. And then you've got your Pro controller styles. So the Joy-Cons are going to be your base controllers. They're fine. They're good for when you're playing handheld, but when you're docked, you're going to want a Pro controller. It just feels better, and just gives you more comfort in the hand. The Joy-Cons themselves also can be a bit pricey because they are $70 brand new. When you're talking about Pro controller, the nice about it as well, that's kind of overarching. There's a lot of different styles, a lot of different brands making them. Nintendo does have its own Pro controller that is $70, but you can find ones from $20 up to $100 plus. They're all different ranges, all different styles, and all different customizations. What you'll see I have here, this is just a very inexpensive $20-$25 wireless gamepad. Works great, no issues at all. So if you're looking for budget, my preferred is the GameCube style from PowerA. This is a wireless, has the design of the GameCube controller, which I just really enjoy, and this one is $60. So with controllers, you've got lots of options. Continuing with accessories, let's talk about travel cases. So if you're going to travel with the Switch, you're going to want a simple case like this, hard shell, nothing too crazy, has a spot for some games in there. Again, there's going to be a lot of options for these, as low as $10-$20 bucks. You can also get cases for holding your games. So since the cartridges are so small, it's really easy to get something like this that you can carry around all your games with you if you're going to go physical. Again, these are very inexpensive, but if you're going to travel, you're going to want something like this to keep everything safe. Last, for accessories, I want to touch on SD card expansion. So the consoles themselves do have some built-in memory for downloading games and playing games from this console itself without a physical cartridge. But the storage is pretty small. So you're going to probably want to buy an SD card. They sell a lot of different options out there. Nintendo even has branded ones themselves. You can buy those, they'll work great. You don't need to spend the money on the branded ones. As long as you find one that's fast enough from a reputable brand, anything's going to work. I typically suggest 256 gigs or 512. If you're really into playing games on the go without a cartridge, downloading those games, you can go up to a terabyte as well. Let's talk about games. So I could have an entire video on games. The Nintendo Switch has a ton of amazing games. So what I'll do is I'll stick to what Nintendo does best, which is their console exclusives, their franchises. So we're talking about the big ones. So if you got Mario Kart, that's going to be a big one. Mario Kart 8 is huge on the system. I believe this is the #1 seller. So if you're a first-time buyer, you're definitely going to want to pick this up. Then you have Super Smash Bros. So Super Smash Bros. Ultimate if you're into that fighting style game, you're going to love this. This is top of the line for that. Then you've got Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda. Tons of games to select from in those franchises, and you're not going to be upset with any of them. They're all going to be good, so that's what I suggest you go into first. And then, of course, there's a ton more games to pick up as you enjoy the system. I did also want to touch on Nintendo Switch Online, and there's 3 main benefits for that. To play online, cloud saves, which I think are very important. You won't lose your saves if you have Nintendo Switch Online. Most games will allow you to save those games to the cloud and back those up in case something happens. And you get a catalog of retro games. So you've got your standard Switch Online, and then what they call the expansion pack. The standard is going to be $20 a year for a single versus $50 for the expansion pack. The difference being those retro games. So the standard is going to get you SNES, NES, and Game Boy, whereas the expansion pack is going to give you all those plus N64, Game Boy Advance, and Sega Genesis. Plus there's a couple of DLCs thrown in there. So when it comes to Nintendo Switch Online, not everyone has to pick that up, but I do suggest it, especially if you're going to be playing on the go, because you will have all those retro games built into the system. All right, let's go to final thoughts. So the bottom line is the Nintendo Switch is a great system. It was in previous years, and it still is in 2025. We've got the Switch 2 on the horizon, so I think this is the best time to get into this ecosystem because they did announce that it will be backwards compatible. When it comes to that, the consoles are all going to be based on what you're going to use it for. Me personally, I'm always going to go to the Switch OLED because I want that gorgeous screen. But if you never play handheld and only play docked, the base model is going to be great for you and it's going to save you a bunch of money. The used market is full of Switch systems that you can get for great prices. And realistically, to have that option for only $100 to get into it with the Switch Lite is a great deal if you're only going to play handheld. I hope this video helped you guys and helped you understand what you should be looking for when you're buying a Switch in 2025. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.